city's been taken by Duke Lorenzo. You wish to be enlisted in his army?
Oh, I'm not a mercenary. Besides, I'm from Florence, and your local skirmishes are none of my affair.
The city is under martial law. You'll find that your affair. Who are you?
My name is Boccaccio. I've just arrived here.
Then you will leave again. At once.
Well, that's quite impossible.
Very well. You're under arrest.
Really? May I offer you some wine?
I might even have you hanged. What are you doing here?
If it concerns you, I came here to find a lady with whom I'm in love. And the pursuit of love, I assure you, has many advantages over the pursuit of war.
You're under arrest.
For one thing, it's more fun. And it makes much less noise. Excuse me.
The joke is over.
Yes. Yes, I think it is.
Boccaccio!
Contessa!
Boccaccio! What in heaven's name are you doing here?
Well, I've just arrived from Florence.
Arrest this man.
Later. Contessa, I'm searching for Fiametta. Do you know where she is?
Yes, she fled from here about a week ago.
Is she safe?
Oh, she's safe from these ruffians. And safe from you.
Hey, soldier! Arrest this man! Later.
Tell me, is her husband with her?
In spirit only. He died some months ago. But don't raise any false hopes. She's as faithful to him in death as she was in life.
Impossible.
But true. She's hiding in the country with 6 females. I'm on my way there now.
You're going to Fiametta?
I'm afraid I have no choice. I either stay here at the mercy of these bandits, or go to Fiametta's hen house and die of boredom.
I'll come with you.
Oh, no. Fiametta would never forgive me. But I will take a message.
Tell her that I love her. That for me there is only one woman in the whole world.
No woman would give that message to another. Goodbye, my friend.
Contessa, I beg you. Tell me where she is.
I'm too old to be tempted by mischief. Go back to Florence, Boccaccio. To via sole.
For the last time, I order you to leave the city.
I will obey at once. You have convinced me.
And then I drove off, leaving him lovesick and longing for our Fiametta.
If it had been I would have brought him here. Yes, how could you be so cruel not to tell him where she was?
If you knew his reputation.
We do. I have read his poems and his stories.
Well, you have no right to at your age.
Life is so boring here for everyone. And Fiametta always sighing and praying all day. But it's only right that she should mourn for her good and faithful husband. He was old and dull. My husband won't be like that, I promise you. He'll be a man.
Well, I hope he's man enough to beat you when you deserve it.
Oh, Contessa, if only you'd tell Boccaccio. Yes.
What do you take me for, an informer? After I had promised?
Will he die of grief?
I somehow doubt it. I really do think that Fiametta might have been here to greet me.
But she's at her prayers. There's a man coming. Oh, come on, let's go quickly. Is he coming here? Yes. Can you see his face? Yes, he's so handsome. Yes, it is Boccaccio. Oh.
Boccaccio, that man above all others. I refuse to allow him inside my house. Lock the doors. Filomena, Pomponea. Hurry. Amelia, the one on the right. No, they're straight ahead. Fasten them tightly. You know why I won't speak to him. He's a libertine and a villain. I even refuse to see him.
Sanctuary, Fiametta.
How did you get here?
Love guided me to you.
There's no place for you here.
And none outside. I have a whole army on my heels, and the city is besieged.
We're nothing but women in this house.
Unfortunately.
Oh, please, Fiametta, let him stay. Don't send him away. Please, Fiametta. We haven't seen a man for so long.
And you need me here to protect you.
Yes, we do.
No, it wouldn't be proper for you to remain in this house. I'm too recently widowed.
That can be cured by becoming recently married.
I shall never marry again. I intend to remain faithful to my husband's memory. No, it's out of the question.
Fiametta, please. Think of me. Don't be so heartless.
He'd only cause trouble. Will you please go?
No.
As you wish. I shall start for Florence, but I doubt that I shall reach it. So, goodbye, Fiametta. Goodbye to you all.
Wait. Think of all the stories he could tell us. Why, we might be here for weeks with nothing to do and no one to talk to but ourselves.
Yes.
No, let me go. Send me away. A man can only die but once.
One moment. Suppose I were to let you stay, just to entertain us.
I can think of no greater pleasure than to entertain you.
Make no mistake, just as a storyteller. And on one condition.
Name it.
That you promise, on your oath, that you will not attempt in any manner to make love to anyone in this house.
Outrageous.
Those are harsh terms.
Those are the only terms by which you may stay until the city is free and the countryside is safe.
Well...
Please, Boccaccio, please stay.
Very well. I accept.
Company, I have a room prepared. Now, company.
And now I shall keep the first part of my bargain and tell you a story.
Yes.
What shall it be? A love story?
Are there any others worth hearing?
It's too late for stories now.
Oh, no.
Oh, but this can be told in the time it takes for the sand to run through this hourglass. Once upon a time, there lived in a seaside villa in Italy a very beautiful woman. She was very much like Fiametta. Yes, very, very much so. Her name was Bartolomea, and she was married to Ricciardo, a man many years older than herself. In fact, this Ricciardo was so old that he did little else but sleep.
Ricciardo! If you must sleep, then come to bed.
But I'm not tired.
Now come along, dear.
Oh, well, I suppose I may as well go to bed.
And I'll come and tuck you in.
No.
No.
No, decidedly no.
What silly astronomical excuse you're going to give me now.
My dear, no excuse is necessary. You've only to glance at this.
Oh, I'm sick and tired of glancing at that.
Did you observe nothing? Absolutely nothing?
Nothing.
But it's all perfectly clear. Venus is eclipsed by Taurus. No, I'm afraid the time is not favorable.
Venus was eclipsed by Taurus yesterday.
No, yesterday, Venus was in the 4th house and it would have been favorable. I'm sorry I made an error in my calculation.
And I remember the day before yesterday.
But the moon was in her first quarter then. Very good for financial matters. I spent all Tuesday collecting taxes, and we had lobster for supper. Don't you remember?
Ricciardo,
Yes, my love.
will you tell me something?
Anything, my love.
Will you kindly inform me whether that calendar shows any chance of our ever having a happy life in the immediate future?
Well, my love, I don't want to depress you, but Mars is very active for the rest of this month. And next month, Venus suffers an almost permanent eclipse. That, of course, is worse. Now, that will take us up to June.
And June is going to be bad, too.
I'm afraid so. Now, if I had a birthday in June, everything would be wonderful. But my birthday happens to be in January.
And so for happiness, I have to have a husband with a birthday in June.
Exactly. Of course, if only
I
your
don't want
reign
it anymore. Today was no good. Yesterday was no good. And I suppose tomorrow will be...
Tomorrow, it so happens that tomorrow is unbelievably favorable.
You amaze me.
Yes, yes, it's all here. The first day of Pisces. Highly favorable for fish.
Fish.
Oh, a beauty. A beauty. Bartolomea! Look, Bartolomea! Look at my fish, my lovely fish! A lovely fish!
Your husband's caught a fish.
But my husband is a fish.
Impossible. There are no pirates in these waters. At least there's nothing about it in the calendar. Row! Bartolomea!
What's he shouting?
Sounds like pirates.
Pirates!
Out of the question. This is ridiculous. No market value at all. Well, this looks a little more hopeful. A lady of quality.
I see you appreciate the finer points.
You are, I would say, a baroness.
Sir, you insult me.
A duchess, perhaps?
Now you flatter me.
A countess. Then may I say that your husband, the count, is a most fortunate man.
My husband, the Count, is dead.
Dead. Take her away.
But, Your Honor.
The name is Paganino, and I have no honor.
But you can't discard me like this.
Why not?
Well, because I always dreamed of being captured.
You are quite free to continue your dreaming on the mainland, my lady. Take her away.
Oh, I want to stay here. Put me down.
Now, this must be either a queen or
There
a...
can be no doubt about your station in life.
And married. And from the quality of the clothes, the husband is somewhat older than the wife.
What makes you say that?
Because what an older man is forced to do with clothes and jewels, a young man can do with love. And, speaking of jewels, I would say that the husband is not only old, but rich.
My husband is Ricciardo de Luca, and he is very, very rich.
Excellent. Set sail for New York.
I haven't the slightest wish to go to Mallorca.
Madam, the cargo on my ship has no say as to where my ship shall or shall not sail.
Are you referring to me as cargo?
I am. Men, Take it to the hall.
But it's criminal. It's illegal.
Madam Contessa, will you tell this lady's husband that should he wish to see her again, that he must come to Mallorca in 3 weeks' time, and he must bring 50,000 florins.
Oh.
Bon voyage.
Go for the shore.
For just to please and oblige a lady is all the thing I can do.
You should rest for a while. No, I'll relax tomorrow when we reach Mallorca. Here, you have a drink.
See them want you.
Here, you. Maybe you'd better take over. Pietro. Domenico.
I'm sorry. It was my fault, not theirs.
Get back to your cabin. Get back to your cabin.
You wait till my husband hears about this.
We shall be in Mallorca tomorrow. And unless your husband loves his money better than he loves you, I shall be rid of you.
My husband will be waiting for you with a battalion of soldiers. They will hang you.
I don't think so. The governor of Mallorca is a very dear friend of mine.
You haven't overlooked anything, have you? And yet,
Yes?
I think you're afraid of me, Captain.
My poor wife. What she must be suffering at the hands of that fiend. Such a child, so naive, so trusting. I haven't slept a wink in the last 3 weeks, too worried. As for food, I can hardly touch a thing. These oysters are delicious.
Señor, el barco que usted espera está llegando.
Go away, horrible child.
Pero, señor, el barco del Paganino está en el puerto.
Who is it? Go away, you give me indigestion.
He says Paganino's ship is in the harbor.
Oh.
Venga, venga a verlo.
Yes, there it is. That's the one.
Señor, usted me prometió un florín. Yo vi el barco primero.
Yes, I can see it for myself. He says you promised him a florin.
I did? A florin for a small boy, it's absurd. Here's something much more valuable.
No.
Yes. Might have a pearl inside it.
His Excellency, the Governor.
Your Excellency.
And how are you, my favorite pirate? I trust you've had a profitable voyage.
Would 50,000 gold florins be profit enough?
50,000?
That is, provided a certain gentleman called Ricciardo cares to redeem a certain piece of merchandise.
Ricciardo? Oh, dear, how unfortunate.
Why?
This man came to see me yesterday. He wants me to hang you.
Thank heaven you're here, Governor. This is the ship, isn't it?
This is my ship, sir.
Allow me to present to you Captain Paganino.
Pirate!
It's a pleasure.
A pleasure, he calls it. A pleasure. Of all the gross insolence. To have one's wife stolen from under one's very nose, that's bad enough. But to have come all this way to retrieve her, and on an empty stomach, that's monstrous.
A husband who loves his wife, sir, should be willing to travel to the ends of the earth in order to retrieve her, and also to pay any price for her freedom.
I was prepared to pay 50,000 gold florins. But thank heavens that won't be necessary now.
No?
Of course not. Well, Governor, don't just stand there looking ridiculous. Arrest this man at once.
Arrest him?
Well, that's what governors are for, isn't it?
Not in my Yorker. And it's not quite as easy as that. Must have some proof of his crime.
Proof? I'll give you proof. Where is my wife?
What makes you suppose I have your wife here?
But Paganino, you told me.
I told you that a gentleman called Ricciardo was interested in some merchandise I had on board.
My wife is the only piece of merchandise I'm interested in.
Oh, and how much would you be willing to pay for her?
Good gracious! I do declare you're in league with the monster.
Oh, how dare you make such a wicked suggestion? How much?
Well, at the most I'll pay oh, I don't know, well, 100 florins would be fair?
100 florins for a wife? Is that all she's worth?
Ah! My poor, dear, tortured wife. Bartolomea.
Paganino, my love, do we know this old gentleman?
But, isn't this your wife?
Of course. My lamb. It is I, your husband.
How do you do?
I'm not very well. Is that all you have to say to me? After 3 weeks? After being kidnapped by this creature? After heaven alone knows what else?
What would you like me to say to you, sir? Darling, what ought I to say to the old gentleman?
I know what it is. He's threatened you. Yes, that's what he's done. Governor! He's threatened her.
No, I don't think it's that.
Bartolomea, will you please speak to me properly? Tell them who I am. Tell them everything.
What would you like me to tell them, sir? After all, I've never seen you in my life before.
But, my dear lady, are you absolutely certain this man is not your husband?
Quite sure, and I can prove it. If, old gentleman, I am, as you say I am, your wife, then what color are my eyes in the dark?
Oh, that is a perfectly simple question to answer. Your eyes are... Well, they're... Well, let me see. Well, oh, how should I know?
Oh. Your Excellency, do you honestly believe any man could be married to me and not know the color of my eyes in the dark?
No, I don't believe he could. Sir, you're an imposter.
I?
Oh, but if you're an imposter, that means that, oh dear.
Lies. All lies. The calendar said it will be a day of deceit. I am going to demand justice immediately.
The gentleman is right. Governor,
Uh-huh.
should you not be given the full justice for bearing false witness?
Yes, yes. Perhaps you're right. I shall show a little clemency. Possibly only a light sentence and, of course, a heavy fine.
How heavy?
Well, let me see. Libel, theft, forgery, perjury. I should think it's about 50,000 gold florins.
Tell me,
What is it?
will you mind very much being married to a pirate?
Not at all, because I think I could persuade him to stop being a pirate.
Yes, I think you might. What is it?
I've just thought of something perfectly dreadful. Paganino, this is vitally important. Is your birthday in June?
And so Paganino and Bartolomea lived and loved happily ever after. It didn't make any difference to
And was Paganino's birthday really in June?
There's no story if it wasn't, no moral.
There is no moral to an immoral tale.
You found it immoral?
I found it indecent.
But Fiametta, my story is moral. Paganino gave up being a pirate. He was reformed by the love of a good woman.
You call her good after the shameful way she treated her husband who loved her so faithfully?
Is that your idea of love?
He was her husband.
In name only.
Well, I'm sorry if the story has displeased you. I shall try to do better the next time.
See that you do. It's time to go to bed.
Fiametta, have you lost something?
The shuttle. Will you help me find it?
Of course. You won't find the shuttle in my eyes, Fiametta.
I don't want to find it.
Then your game is spoiled.
There are other games.
Which one must be of age to play?
If I were Fiametta, I would never treat you as she does.
Then I wish you were she. But unfortunately, you are not. But thank you, Fiametta.
Campanella.
I lost my shuttle. Boccaccio was helping me find it.
I'm sure he would have found it in time.
Yes. No, I mean... Oh.
You promised me that if I allowed you to stay in my house, you would not make love to anyone.
But I thought that by anyone you meant... Do you?
The others are waiting to hear today's story from you.
The others. Not you.
I shall be there.
I have told you 30 stories by now, and each one of them seems to displease you more.
Because the settings are different, the plots vary, but the characters are always the same. The young wife, the elderly husband, and the handsome lover. And virtue always ridiculed.
It's always a temptation to ridicule when virtue takes itself too seriously. Besides, could you do better than I?
Yes. Tonight I shall tell a story.
And so tonight, Fiametta is going to tell a story. A story with virtue triumphant.
How dull.
Fiametta?
Once upon a time, there was a merchant, Giulio by name. He was like, very much like, well, anyway, he was boastful, arrogant, conceited,
Vanabo, you have no girl.
I have a wife.
That's nothing to boast about. So have I.
And, where is this, absent wife of yours?
Naturally, at our home in Genoa.
Alone?
Of course, she's alone, except for our servant.
You seem very sure.
I am.
Why?
Because my wife is as faithful to me as I am to her.
Some men are born with wool over their eyes. Vanabo! We were only joking. Sit down. Sit down. And tell us about this, wife of yours.
I will not discuss her with you, except to say that she is everything a good wife should be.
And, what exactly should a good wife be?
A perfect housekeeper, an expert in needlework, a superb cook, tender.
She must be older than Methuselah.
She is very young and very beautiful.
And faithful to you?
I would wager my life on it.
Now, how much is your life worth? 5,000 florins?
What do you mean?
Would you be willing to wager 5,000 florins to my 1,000 on your wife's virtue?
Of course not.
Then you're not sure. You have doubts.
I am perfectly sure. But I will not wager.
That's very wise of you.
I will not listen to such talk.
Wait. supposing someone could bring you proof of your wife's infidelity.
They never could, nor would I believe them.
Oh, but it would have to be excellent proof, undeniable proof, anything you demand.
And who do you think could ever bring me such a thing?
Well, there are men who are rather skillful in such matters. Me, for instance. I'll back my honesty with 1,000 florins. Will you back your wife's with 5,000?
I have already told you.
Take his money, Barnaby. Go on, you can't lose.
Of course, if you think that the odds are not fair to you, I will even have breakfast with her in her bed.
How ridiculous. On that, I would give 10 times these odds.
I only ask 5 to 1. Your hand on it?
I accept, but only to cure you of your arrogant conceit and to silence your bragging for all time.
If I fail, my lips will be silenced forever. But if I succeed, they will be silenced temporarily by a kiss from your wife. Now, as to terms, I shall meet you here again in 1 month's time. You shall be the judge.
Now, where are you going?
I have a rendezvous.
Narina.
Yes, mistress?
That man is in the street again.
He is a persistent fellow, isn't he?
Apparently.
And handsome, too.
Well, I didn't see what he looked like.
Oh, he's tall and dark.
I'm not interested in Narina.
Yes,
For
miss.
2 weeks now, he's been sending me flowers and poetry. And very bad poetry at that.
Yes, mistress, very bad. Men like him are a menace to women like us. Would you like me to drive him away?
Could you?
Oh, I've driven away many a man in my time.
Well, see what you can do with this one.
Yes, mistress.
Hey, you down there. Why do you cast your evil shadow on our house?
Tonight at 10. And don't forget. Hurry, she's going to bed now. In here. And remember, you promised not to harm her or even touch her.
I'm an artist, and an artist creates beauty, not destroys it.
Be careful. My mistress has the loudest scream in all Genoa. Hurry. Hurry.
Narina?
Yes, mistress?
I shall retire now.
I'm just arranging the bed.
I think I have everything for the night.
Yes. Good night, mistress. I hope you sleep very, very soundly.
lock of her hair and a portrait of her husband.
Thousands of women have hair like this.
Possibly, but only one man has a face like this.
But that could have been stolen.
On my word, it was given to me.
Your word is worthless.
He's right, Julio. That's no proof.
Tell us, did you have breakfast in her bedchamber? I did, and what a breakfast. Bernabo, I must admit, I admire your wife's taste in glass.
No, I will not listen to that talk.
Why? Are you afraid? Now, let me describe a bedchamber to you. The walls have...
That's enough.
Then you admit you lose, Bernabo.
Never. A description of a room means nothing. One of my servants could have let him into the house while my wife was out.
That's quite true, Julio.
Then you force me to give you positive proof. Proof which no servant could have given me. Your wife, Ginevra, has a birthmark. A tiny mark in the shape of a heart. This birthmark is on her left shoulder. Is that sufficient proof, gentlemen?
Well, I think I speak for all of us when I declare Julio the winner of the wager.
Senora, a message from your husband.
At last.
The men that brought it are waiting below.
Ginevra, follow the men, and they will bring you to me.
What a strange message. I wonder what it means.
I don't know. I've had a strange sense of doom ever since the medallion was lost. However, whatever he orders, I must obey. Now, I shall prepare to leave immediately.
Yes, mistress.
Hello!
Ooh.
Hello! And now, Signora, say your prayers.
But why should I say my prayers now?
So that you may die piously.
You want to kill me? But what have I done to you?
We're only following your husband's orders.
There is nothing irregular.
My husband? I don't believe you.
Every wife we do away with mistrusts us.
It's always the same.
Why should my husband wish me dead?
That's a question we never ask.
Now, please, you must get on with your prayers.
Well, if my husband no longer loves me and wishes me dead, what have I got to pray for?
That's very logical of you, I'm sure. But you're making things very difficult.
It's getting late. My wife and children are waiting dinner for me. My friend here hasn't eaten all day.
Well, kind of get it over with as quickly as possible.
Oh, come now. I can't possibly kill you without a prayer. It wouldn't be decent.
I'm sorry. I can't oblige you.
Well, if you won't pray, maybe you'll plead with me. Or scream and cry.
Why do you want me to do all these things?
To make it easier for us.
When a woman starts yowling, we take an immediate dislike to her.
I'm sorry.
You're being very uncooperative. You might have some consideration for us.
We're not heartless men. We never kill anyone without a struggle. Do we?
I'm sorry. I simply can't struggle.
Oh. I can't do it. And I was going to use the money to buy presents for my children.
Oh, dear. Well, if you won't do it, I will.
Hey, you gone mad? Suicide? After your husband has entrusted you to our care?
He needn't know.
Well, it's all very well for you.
We have a conscience. I wouldn't be able to look my children in the face again. Excuse me. My friend has had a wonderful idea. We could pretend to kill you.
Why should you spare me?
You can see no other solution. Couldn't we smear some blood on your clothes and take them to your husband? What he doesn't know won't hurt him.
Why, of course. That's extremely kind of you two gentlemen. Here, give me the knife.
No tricks now.
I promise.
I wonder if you'd mind going into the bushes to do that. My friend cannot stand the sight of blood. Boy! 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 Come here.
Aye, aye, sir. Yes, sir.
Boy, tomorrow we land in Morocco.
Yes, sir.
I want you to come with me to the palace.
What palace?
The palace of the Sultan. You can carry some of the merchandise I intend to sell him.
I'd like that.
Yes, you're a good boy and a good sailor.
Here, Your Majesty, is priceless silk from Cathay.
Very nice. Make him speak again. Make him talk.
Say something to the Sultan.
Only want to rum. Only want to rum.
And here, Your Majesty, is...
I know. Spices from Tuscany. What's his name?
Polly, Your Majesty. And he's a she.
Your Majesty, pearls from the Far East.
Yes. Make her talk to me.
Well, I'm afraid she won't speak to anyone but me, Your Majesty.
Nonsense. I'm the Sultan. Tell her I'm the Sultan, and she must speak to me.
I'm sorry, Your Highness.
I must have the parrot. If you will throw in the boy and the parrot, I will buy everything you have shown me.
But I cannot sell the lad, Your Majesty.
Why not? I'll make you rich. I'll make him rich. I'll give you a wife. 10 wives. 20 wives.
I'm afraid that won't be necessary, Your Majesty.
Then you will stay.
It seems as though my mind has been made up for me.
Ah!
Rich Jews from the land of sunshine. Would the young gentleman like to buy something for his young lady?
This young gentleman has no lady.
A handsome lad like you, with no lady. Now look around, only the best here.
Where did you get this?
It was given to me by a lady from Genoa.
From Genoa? I know Genoa well. It once was my home.
Oh, you're obviously not Oriental.
No, but I'm in the service of the Sultan.
The Sultan? Would you care to examine some of my jewels?
You say this was given to you by a lady?
Just between us, out of affection and gratitude.
Hmm. Good face.
Oh, her husband. Poor fellow, he lost a wager to me of 5,000 florins and the love of his wife. It was rather foolish of him, particularly as he knew my reputation.
Very interesting. Tell me, is the wager worthwhile?
Financially, yes, but you know women. The same old story. She grew dull.
Yes, I know. Tell me, what was her name?
Her name? Now, let me see. Oh, yes, of course. Margarita.
Ha, you have a wonderful memory.
One has to have a good memory in my business. Now, these wonderful sapphires.
Very beautiful. What became of the poor fellow?
Who? Oh, the husband. Oh, he became a pitiful creature. Oddly enough, I was the only one to help him. He works for me now.
Oh, I have to be going. How much do you want for this
Now,
bag?
take my advice, lad, and choose something else. This will not appeal to any of you.
To me, I'll give you 50 florins.
50 florins?
60.
It's yours. I simply don't understand why the Sultan invited you here.
For that matter, why did he ask you?
I told you a dozen times. He always invites me when he needs any advice.
Oh.
Especially about women. Follow me.
Your Majesty, the two Italian merchants.
Oh. Are we to, be alone?
Isn't that what you wanted?
Of course.
Are you always so impatient?
I always examine jewels before I buy them. The boy from Genoa. I thought there was something strange about you. What was the disguise for?
Oh, I was only playing a game.
Why?
Don't you know me?
Certainly, I know you.
Then you have seen me before.
Yes, at the marketplace this afternoon.
No, I mean as a girl.
Impossible. I couldn't forget you. I have such an excellent memory. Now, why did you hide such beautiful lips?
Have you ever seen these lips before?
No, but if you'd stand still for a moment, I might remember everything.
Now do you remember me?
I've never been kissed by lips like those before.
Are you sure?
Too sure.
Would you swear to it?
On my life.
Ginevra, are you really alive?
No, you don't.
Is that your wife?
Aha! So you never knew his wife before?
No. No, I mean, yes,
Feed him to the crocodiles.
Wait, Your Majesty.
Oh, forgive me, Mr. Sutton. Please, forgive me.
Why do you ask forgiveness?
I caused her death.
No, it was I who caused it. I had her killed.
There stands my real murderer. Tell Bernabo the truth, the whole truth.
Very well. I'm a rogue, Bernabo. I lied to you.
The crocodiles have not been fed since Tuesday.
Pity, Signor. Pity.
Aren't you going to plead for mercy?
No, Ginevra, I did. I wanted to die ever since I ordered your death.
And what about this one?
Spare him, Your Majesty, so that he may labor for my husband as my husband's slave for him, and repent the evil that he has done.
I will. I do.
Well, personally, I think you are being terribly occidental. I'd feed them both to the crocodiles. As for you, I'm sure I can find a vacancy among my wives.
Thank you, Your Majesty, but despite everything, I still love Bernabo. And so Giulio did repent and paid his debt, and Ginevra and her Bernabo sailed back to Genoa, where they lived happily together to the end of their days. And there's a moral to my story.
May we have it?
That the brightest jewel in a woman's crown of virtue is fidelity.
An excellent moral and a charming tale. Except for the ending.
And how would you have ended it?
I would have had Ginevra choose differently. A man with Giulio's imagination and resourcefulness deserves the love of a good woman. Besides...
Stop. I will not have my moral perverted.
But you'd prefer to throw away her love and allow the boor?
He was her husband.
To be faithful to a man who did not trust her, who almost caused her death.
I would have joined the Sultan's harem. He sounded most attractive.
No, I'm afraid your sense of fidelity is too inflexible for me.
So it would seem. I challenge you now. You tell us a story for once in which the wife is faithful and the lover not quite so, successful.
That will require very little imagination. However, if you wish. The story of a faithful wife. There was once a young and lovely lady by the name of Isabella de Marco. Any similarity to, is purely... Well, anyway, she lived in a villa near the city of Toledo in Spain. And she had never left there. Until one night, a remarkably handsome and aristocratic courier arrived at her door. I come from the palace of the king. Take me to Dr. de Marco.
This way, please. A gentleman from the royal palace.
I am Dr. de Marco. What may I do for you?
Nothing, I'm afraid.
You mean you come all the way from the palace for nothing?
No, His Majesty is very ill, with a mysterious malady that no physician has been able to cure. I was sent to bring Dr. de Marco to his bedside.
And so you shall.
But you're a woman.
That's very discerning of you. What's your name?
Don Bertrando. No, I really think it's hardly necessary.
You think that women are incompetent and useless?
Or quite the contrary. Women very definitely have their uses.
In what way?
would prefer to discuss that at a less urgent time.
That on the way to the palace. So, ever since I was a very young girl, I worked with my father. I was always so busy fighting death, I never had time for life. Now that I think of it, you're the first healthy man I've ever met.
I shall try to remain that way.
It's quite a strange sensation being with a man who can take care of me instead of me taking care of him.
Oh, you look like a woman who can take care of herself.
Don't you like that in a woman?
Well, yes. Only, well, it's a new sensation for me, too.
You aren't married, are you?
Definitely no.
Don't you want to be?
Possibly in 40 or 50 years.
Well, you'll be practically dead by then.
It's the perfect time for marriage.
No, I think you need a wife, a woman who...
Out and dismount.
You ride on business for the king.
You can proceed on your business as soon as you've turned over your money.
I'll do nothing of the sort.
But you may have fractured a bone or something. Take off your doublet.
Certainly not.
Well, you seem all right. Bertrando, you saved my life. Ask of me what you wish.
Very well. I ask you to get back on your horse. And remember that it's the king who needs you, not I.
How can a woman cure the king?
I agree with my colleague. How can she succeed where we fail?
I agree with my two colleagues. It is preposterous.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with all my colleagues. I am against it.
Father, I have faith in my ability to cure the king. Please take me to him.
His Majesty is sinking rapidly. Certainly there could be no harm in us seeing him.
I am His Majesty's medical advisor, and I forbid it.
I am his spiritual advisor, and I advise it. The girl has faith, and faith has worked miracles far beyond science.
The age of miracles is over.
It will never be over. As long as faith exists, there will be miracles. Come, my child.
God has saved the king!
God, the disability mark.
Music!
Rise, Isabella, and approach us. It is I who should kiss your hand. I owe you my life. How can I ever repay you?
Your Majesty's recovery is payment enough, and yet I...
There is something you want. Name it, and it shall be yours.
Your Majesty, I should like to have a husband.
A reasonable request. Who is the fortunate young man?
Don Bertrando.
Another conquest, Bertrando. It is not easy to keep up with you.
not easy to keep up with myself, sire. I'm as surprised as you are.
I'm afraid I do not understand.
Nor I, Your Majesty. I have met this young lady only once, when I brought her to your bedside.
You saved my life.
And in return, you take mine.
Is this a wise choice, a man you hardly know?
Wisdom and love are not always compatible, Father.
What have you to say to this, Bertrando?
I'm on the side of wisdom.
Surely there is a happier reward His Majesty can give you. Money, position.
I ask only Don Bertrando.
I think I should warn you, Isabella. Bertrando has had the love of many women and been faithless to them all.
Take warning, Isabella.
I shall reform him.
You put me in something of a dilemma.
You put me in a reformatory.
If Your Majesty wishes to withdraw your promise...
That I will not do. But perhaps I can dissuade you.
That you cannot do.
Bertrando, I have given my word, the royal word, to grant whatever request was made of me.
Your Majesty, I thought that the days of human sacrifice were over.
You could go far and fare worse. I will not force you, Bertrando, but I ask you as your king to uphold my promise.
Then, as your subject, I must comply.
You will not regret this.
I trust, sire, that you prove to be as good a prophet as you are a king. Now, by your leave, I will prepare myself for the sacrifice.
I wish you great happiness in your marriage. Goodbye, Isabella.
I, too, wish you happiness in your marriage. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
I have proved my fidelity to His Majesty. This is all I agreed to do.
What about your fidelity to me? What about our marriage contract?
I give it to you as a wedding present. You can hang it over our bed.
But, Bertrando, I love you. At least allow me to prove that love.
I'll take your word for it.
But am I never to see you again?
Oh, I'm sure our paths will cross sometime or other. It often happens with married people.
But is there no way to keep you with me?
Do you see this ring?
Mm-hmm.
When you wear this, and when you bear me a child, then and only then will I become your husband in every sense of the contract.
But how can I wear you?
Like a resourceful woman, and it will give you something to occupy your mind in the meantime.
There is no one at home.
I know better. I bring news of her husband.
Nevertheless, she's not at home to anyone.
Your mistress never sets foot outside this door.
But
I must see her.
Father, come in. Father, tell me your news.
My daughter, you cannot shut yourself away from the world like this.
If you bring me good news of my husband, then I will let in the world.
I'm afraid my mission is in vain.
Why so?
I came to plead with you to forget Bertrand.
You, a servant of God, you ask me to give up my husband?
In the eyes of God, you have no husband.
But in my eyes, I have. You've heard of him. You know where he is. Tell me, Father.
Yesterday, I chanced upon a merchant who had recently come from Florence. It seems your husband is well known in that town.
What does he do there?
What he has always done. Waste his time and reputation in riotous living.
And there is a woman involved, no doubt.
Yes, an innocent young girl. The daughter of a poor woman who keeps an inn.
What is the name of this unfortunate mother?
Signora Buca.
Perhaps you're right, Father. Perhaps I shouldn't cut myself off from the world this way.
Hey, call wine.
A girl?
Yes, Signora.
What's your name?
Maria. Maria Buca. What can I do for you?
I should like a room.
I'll call my mother. Mama! Mama!
What is it?
The Signora wishes a room.
In my humble inn.
Would you rather I chose another one?
Oh, no, no, Signora. Here you will have the best of everything. Beautiful food, a beautiful room. Oh, this way, Signora. Enter, Signora. This is my daughter's room.
I wouldn't want to put your daughter out.
She'll sleep with me. This is the finest room in the inn. And it's even more magnificent in the light.
Maria.
Maria! Go inside! Go inside! You woman stealer! You snake in the grass! You betrayer of innocence! Keep away from my inn and from my daughter!
1,000 pardons, Signora. I didn't know you were watching.
Scoundrels, scamps, scallywags, scum!
Here, allow me.
Get out of here! Son of Satan!
If your aim were only as good as your vocabulary.
You devil! You fiend in hell! Your pardon, Signora.
One of your daughter's suitors?
A devil, that's what he is. A Spanish devil. He's trying to rob me of my daughter. My poor, innocent child.
Perhaps he's in love with her.
What does he know of love? He's broken the hearts of half the girls in Florence, and now he's starting on the second half. Him already married.
Does he ever speak of his wife?
Not so you can hear him. She's some poor, misguided fool whom he's left in Spain.
What makes you think she's a fool?
She married him, didn't she? I'll not have my daughter compromised by a married man. There's no future in it.
But suppose there were a future.
How could there be?
If I were to show you how to earn 1,000 golden florins.
1,000 florins? I'm a poor woman, Signora. You mustn't tempt me.
Oh, I wouldn't dream of it.
Besides, even if I were a weak woman, which I am not, and willing to yield to temptation, for my daughter's sake, how would I go about it?
You would send a message from your daughter to the Spaniard, arranging for a rendezvous at midnight tonight.
What? You asked me to sell my daughter for 1,000 florins? Do you think I hold her virtue so cheap?
Her virtue will be unimpaired. She will not even see him.
Not see him?
The room will be in complete darkness.
It's worse and worse.
And she will not be in the room.
Where will she be?
Safely beside you in bed. In fact, she need know nothing of it. You can write a letter and give it to one of those go-betweens. One of those women who, for a small sum of money, arranges such matters.
Yes, I know the very one. An evil old witch. Utterly shameless.
I'm not concerned with her character.
I cannot do it. It is not proper.
If I were to tell you it's not only proper, but right.
How can it be?
Because the gentleman in this room tonight will either be alone or with his wife.
This way, my lord.
sure this isn't a trap?
Do I look like the sort of person who would lead you into a trap?
Frankly, yes.
Then my looks are deceiving.
Oh, I'm sorry. Bertrando.
I was just coming to find you.
And instead, I find you here.
Where did you expect me to be? After all, it's barely daybreak.
And you said you loved me.
But I do love you. Haven't I proved it?
Mother told me what to expect of you.
Wasn't that rather indelicate of her?
How dare you speak of delicacy?
Oh, darling. Now, what's the matter with you this morning?
Take your hands off me.
You are like all women. Unpredictable. By the way, this is yours.
Don't think you can bribe me. Oh, you fiend, you snake, you.
Now you're talking like your mother.
I could kill you. Don't touch me.
Do you want your mother to hear?
I intend to tell her everything.
Oh, I wouldn't do that.
Why shouldn't I?
Well, it is not exactly the sort of thing one tells one's mother. She might not like it.
Take your hands off me.
Not until you tell me what is wrong.
Quiet there.
Help, help.
Hey, what's all the noise about?
How can anyone leave?
Save me.
What's the meaning of this?
Mother, you're right. Last night...
There is a misunderstanding.
He spent the night with...
I did not.
This is the end. Are you going to stand there and see an innocent girl attacked in her own house, in front of her own mother?
The man's a monster.
Throw him out!
Just a moment. I can explain everything.
Don't listen to his lies. Throw him out!
Now, will you please?
Now come and tell your king about that. Down in the gutter, that's where you belong, Sid. Go and get out. You want to be ashamed of yourself?
They're just like his father, always wanting something.
My daughter, I hope you will not suffer for what you've done.
Well, how can I suffer? I have his ring, I have his son, and soon I shall have him.
Bertrando is returning.
He should be here now. I sent word to Florence telling him he should be a proud father.
What you have done is understandable, my child. You loved your husband and wanted him back. But that does not mitigate the sin you have committed.
Where is this woman who dares call herself? Where is she?
He doesn't sound very repentant.
Father, let me see him alone.
Where is your mistress? Upstairs.
All right, Father.
God be with you, my child.
So it is true. You have deceived me.
In what way?
Is that or is that not a child?
It is indeed a boy, child.
The father. Tell me his name.
You should know his name better than anyone.
Don't put me off. Do you think I will allow my honor to be dragged in the mud? Whoever the father is, I'll kill him.
That would be suicide.
What? Are you trying to pretend that I fathered this whelp?
Don't shout so loudly. You disturb your son.
Answer my question.
There, darling. It's only your father.
As a doctor, your biology is rather faulty. How could I be his father when I was in Italy and you were...
I was in Italy, in Florence, at the inn of Mother Bucca.
What?
your ring.
Where did you get this?
It was a present from you.
You bought it from Maria. You have a child to try and entrap me. To make me believe you've lived up to the terms of our agreement.
The child is yours, Bertrando. Maria was not in that room in the inn.
What are you saying?
The truth. You spent the night with me, your wife.
Impossible.
Nothing is impossible to a woman in love.
What do you know about love? A woman like you. I tell you it was Maria.
I tell you, it was Isabella.
No, nonsense, nonsense. I know women. You're cold, efficient, clinical. A doctor dressed as a female. Now, could a doctor kiss me the way Maria did?
That all depends on the doctor.
My wife! And so Isabella performed the second miracle. For from that day on, Bertrando became a good father, a good husband, and a model of fidelity.
Charming. Yes, it was so. Oh, yes. I adore happy endings. Yes. It wasn't a happy ending for Maria.
Nor for me, it seems. I failed to please you again.
I'm afraid my standard of morality is different from yours.
You wanted the story of a faithful wife. I gave it to you.
I would hardly call Don Bertrando worthy of such fidelity.
You don't want a story. You want a sermon.
Must a story be indecent to be entertaining?
I've done my best to entertain you, and I failed. Perhaps it is better that I should leave.
No, Boccaccio, you can't leave now. Please, Fiametta, don't let him.
But there's no reason to leave. Where would you go with an army ravaging the countryside?
What reason have I to stay? Or even to live? Now that I know my greatest desire in life can never be satisfied. I've told you in so many words of my devotion for you, but you do not hear. So, goodbye, Fiametta.
Come in. What are you doing here?
You told me to come in. I heard you.
But I thought you'd gone.
I've changed my mind. In the hope I can change yours.
Your promise.
I've decided to break it before I break my heart.
But have you no honor?
I've abandoned it for love.
I don't love you.
You will.
This is outrageous.
Of course.
Let me go.
And so, Fiametta and Boccaccio, well, anyway, Boccaccio and